served Fishers for 5 years as an at-large city councilman, I am proud to have helped transform our community in many ways. I hope to continue to add value to provide direction and input in the many initiatives within Fishers, including parks, public safety, mental and community health, and many other community-minded initiatives. With my background in commercial real estate, I feel well qualified working with the Fishers Planning Commission, helping to define what our community will be like for years to come. If I am successful in the November election, I feel this will be my last term serving Fishers. My hope is to continue the positive momentum of Fishers. I have been an advocate for workforce and affordable housing opportunities in the right places within Fishers. I share the feeling that there does need to be balance of housing available within Fishers, and I will work to support this effort, but I will be placing emphasis on sustainability and architectural standards for all projects. Provided there is justified demand for public transportation, I'm an advocate for this being provided within Fishers. I would like there to be some type of pedestrian or transportation connectivity across I-69 from our downtown to the east side of I-69. I believe strongly in workforce development. I feel it is important to listen to the business community to stay abreast with their workforce needs. I am proud to have been a staunch supporter of the Hub and Spoke co-working space that is being developed at I-69 and 106th Street. This project specifically will help train and promote the trades, and it's a terrific example of what can be done in partnership with the business community, HSE schools, and the city. This is another example of how Fishers is promoting entrepreneurial efforts like Launch Fishers, Fishers IoT, the Yard Food Incubator, and now Hub and Spoke, all helping to address different entrepreneurial and workforce needs. Going forward, my hope is to help address 2 challenges facing Fishers. Thankfully, we have started work on each of these challenges, but we must continue our efforts. 1, transportation corridors and traffic movement will continue to be challenges as more businesses and citizens locate in Fishers. We have already prioritized road maintenance and resurfacing. This summer has seen a tremendous amount of our road inventory being resurfaced. We will need to continue to monitor and control traffic movement along main corridors like 106th Street and create limited access points and restricting turning to designated signals or turning lanes that will help ease traffic flow. The second area of concern that many people do not know about is the unequal distribution of the county income tax to Fishers. Due to a dated and biased funding formula, the city of Carmel, a nearly equal population to Fishers, receives nearly $20 million more a year than Fishers. I am actively pursuing ways in which to remedy this unequal funding formula to allow Fishers to receive its fair share of the county income tax distribution. I feel that my business and real estate background gives me a unique perspective to serve the city of Fishers, having lived and raised our family of 4 children in Fishers since 1993. I have long been active and a leader in community activities. I pledge to continue to make our community the healthiest and most livable city in Indiana in the United States, and I would appreciate your support in November. So that is from Mr. Block. Moving now to Ms. Cole.
Good evening. My name is Cecilia Coble, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you as one of your at-large city council members. I wanted to share a little bit of background about myself. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, half of my school-age years there. My dad is a retired FBI agent, so we moved around in the Southwest. I graduated from the University of Arizona, where I met my husband, Mike. We've been married 25 years, and he's born and raised here in the Indianapolis area. We have 2 teenage daughters. Our older daughter, Alexa, is an aspiring actress, and she is studying at the Tisch School for the Arts at NYU. And our second daughter, Krista, she is a sophomore at Fishers High School. She's in the Life Skills program and with the Exceptional Learners Department. She has been diagnosed with autism and cognitive delays, so one of my greatest passions in working here as a city council member is being a part of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability that I co-chair. I also am the vice president of the Arts and Culture Commission. This is something that I'm very passionate about increasing the vibrancy of our arts and culture here in our city. Prior to being on the city council, I graduated from the Robert H. McKinney School of Law, and I did government relations for Bank One Financial Services. I've dedicated a lot of time working for nonprofits, and I am looking forward to serving you for another 4 years to continue with the success that we've had here in Fishers, as we are the third best city to live in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coble. Ms. Bear.
Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Okay. So first of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting us this evening, and thank you all for coming, especially for part 2 of this doubleheader. Appreciate you staying around. My name is Jocelyn Bear, and I'm running for Fishers City Council at large as your Democratic candidate. I will be the Democratic candidate that will appear on everyone's ballot. I am the only at-large candidate who is not a part of the mayor's team package. I am on your team. I'm here to serve only you. I will bring a new common sense to the city council. I will bring a fair checks and balances and a promise that your voice will be heard. A little bit about me. I have lived in Fishers for 21 years, and I've been a community volunteer for over a decade. Some of the organizations that I've served have included, with Ms. Coble, the Arts and Culture Commission and Fishers Arts Council, and many others. I'm a small business owner, and I work with communities across the state, so I have a lot of experience with municipalities all over Indiana. I'm a communications professional, and I know the difference between actual results and press releases. Here's the part of my story that I think especially pertains to today. I've raised 2 teenagers. They're in their 20s now, so that's an accomplishment. So truly, I feel many times that our city is sometimes like a teenager, exuberant and bold, but spending money freely, enjoying the thrill of breakneck speeds, poor judgment when it thinks no one is paying attention. I love my city, and there are many things to be proud of here, but our city government must be challenged to be more accountable and responsible. I am running for city council because I will bring that accountability, responsibility, and a common sense balance that Fishers needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bear. Mr. Zimmerman.
Todd Zimmerman, currently an at-large member on the council, been on council since 2015. Moved here back in 1989, so I think I'm the oldest, not actually the oldest, but been around the longest here in Fishers of all the candidates and current council members. But I love the city. I met my wife here. We've been married for 20 years. I have a 17-year-old, 13-year-old, 11-year-old boys, so it keeps us extremely busy. I coach, so if you don't see me here or at work, I'm generally on a basketball court or a baseball field. I love coaching. Part of being part of the community is not just here, but it's actually serving alongside the parents, the residents that make up our city. We're named the #1 best city. I can't remember what date it was. It was 2015 or 16 or something like that. But then #3 in Money Magazine is best place to live. Although it's right, it's been pointed out, we should never rest on that. We should never just sit back and just accept that as, hey, we're always going to be that way. But I moved here in '89. It was 70 degrees in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was -22 wind chill factor in February. We moved in the middle of my sophomore year into Charleston Crossing. The west side of Fishers has always felt like a special place to me because that's where I was as a teenager. But I want to see our community continue to grow, continue to be vibrant, while recognizing our past, carrying some of those traditions forward, but also making sure that we're well sustained and ready for the next 10, 20, and 30 years.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. We'll now move to the question portion of our program. I saved some questions. Just for you. Yes, that's right.
Jan, I had all the answers written down.
Yeah, right. So the question goes actually to you first, Mr. Zimmerman. And so I'm combining a couple here. One questioner asked about how is Fishers an age-friendly community? And then another questioner is curious about, with our growing diversity, how are we accepting to all in the community?
Okay.
So age and other aspects of diversity, how are we inclusive and accepting to all?
That's great. So 2 points there. We have Britain Falls, which is a specific 55 and up community. There's several different segments within our city right now. And accepting all, one of the things I'm really proud of is I've served the past several years as part of the mental health initiative, reached out to the interfaith community within the city of Fishers, trying to bring different faith walks together to talk about real issues with regard to anxiety, depression, and suicide. And it's amazing the cultural differences associated with even a view of depression or anxiety, but it's created great dialogue between different denominations as well as religions and backgrounds and cultures that I believe helps bring our community together.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Ms. Cole.
Yes, last year we actually got designated an AARP city, and we were one of the few cities, I think we were the only city in Indiana and one of the few cities in the United States to get that designation, and that's a big honor. We are doing a lot for people who are aging. We have a club called Free Birds, and they're very active here in Fishers. There's a lot that's going on over at Britton Falls. We're always trying to include those groups to weigh in on things that we're doing. We have a diverse population. If you look at the schools that we have, there are 100 different cultures and languages and a wide diverse group of people. Part of what we're trying to do with the newly formed Arts and Culture Commission is to figure out how can we shine the light on that diversity and that richness that we have here in Fishers. And so that's one of the things that I and others from the commission are really anxious of doing, is bringing that vibrancy of all our cultures and our diversity here in Fishers.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Ms. Bear.
I think this is a great kickoff question. It acknowledges that our community has changed over the years. Right now, we know our population is over 90,000, and the diversity of our population is something to be celebrated. So different ages, different generations, millennials to baby boomers to retirees. And what this speaks to me is very much the necessity for balance within our city government, so that all these segments of population, all the variety of households that live here are well represented on city council. If I am elected, I will be the first Democrat to serve on local government, I think ever. And I think that is very important, not in terms of political parties, but in terms of representing the diversity of our amazing city.
Thank you, Ms. Bear. Next question goes to you first. So this is one of my finance questions in this part of the program. So this questioner is concerned about the tax abatements, the TIFs given to new businesses, new items coming into Fishers. And so how this questioner claims that you really, there's no really benefit to the city economically until the debt is paid off through a TIF. And so, like, how, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that we need to continue to keep giving, TIF, tax abatements, types of things? So Ms. Bear first.
Sure. So to define TIFs just very broadly, it's an economic development tool that's a major tool, and it is well used across the country. So it is an established practice. However, here's what's important. It's a gamble. Every TIF that is, or tax abatement or deal that is made is a gamble, and the city government is banking on that over the course of time that the gamble will pay off. Did you know 80% of all commercial property or zoned land in Fishers is in a TIF district? And frankly, if we lose, our community will lose on TIF gambles if those investments, private investments, would have been made anyway. So all I'm saying about TIFs, it's an important tool, but it must be very held accountable. It must be very responsible, and it requires some common sense balance.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yeah, the thought process behind TIFs is to really make sure there is a sense of, you have to do research. You have to figure out, is this the right type of business, type of industry that you want to introduce into the community, and hopefully with that, there's development that surrounds it. And that's the point. So back in '89, when I was walking down these streets, I walked from Charleston Crossing to McDonald's. It was the former McDonald's before it was blown up, and then there was a new one, but I walked back and forth. There was very little. There was Archer's grocery. There was actually a grocery store. It wasn't just a meat market, it was a grocery store. But there was very little economic activity. Without using the TIF, the downtown would not have been able to be established. Thus, the growth of us being able to introduce and welcome new businesses, new headquarters into this community to make sure we have a diverse tax base and an employment base in case we hit, or when we hit a recession, that it's not based on one industry, but there's a diversity there that helps sustain us.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Ms. Cole.
TIFs are one of the incentives that are allowed by the state to municipalities to create economic incentives and economic development. It is very carefully evaluated by many factors in terms of what kind of industry is wanting to come in, what types of jobs are going to be coming in, are they high-paying jobs, what kind of tax base will it generate, and so that is carefully evaluated, and it's a return on investment that is watched very carefully at the state level. We have been very strategic and systematic on these new developments because Todd was right. You know, we had a lot of open space, and we needed to get some economic development here because we cannot sustain ourselves in the future as a bedroom community, and that's what we were prior to becoming a city. We had no industry here. We had no businesses to sustain us in the long term and fuel that economic tax base.
Ms. Chandler, can I make a statement after that or no? One more sentence?
So I told candidates they can ask for rebuttal, so like what will happen then is you'll have 30 seconds for rebuttal, but everybody else will as well.
Sure.
Okay, so 30 seconds on the clock, ladies. Ms. Baer?
If I may, as Mr. Zimmerman and Ms. Coble stated, the TIF districts are used quite substantially here in Fishers. Therefore, it is imperative that as residents who are helping to fund these investments, that we are receiving data to evaluate the success or failure of these deals. So they're used substantially here in Fishers, and we have to be accountable and have the data to see if they're successful or not.
Thank you, Ms. Baer. Mr. Zimmerman, 30 seconds.
So what I would say to that is all of our finances and information is public record, number one. Number two, I would also look to the fact that are we being successful? Is this community growing? Is this community thriving? You can look at our tax base, you can look at the assessed value, and just make your own determination. There's obviously always an argument for or against any type of economic incentive, and I appreciate that. I don't have problems with questions about it. I think it's a really healthy dialogue. But at the end of the day, those two things are there to help at least navigate that.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Ms. Cole?
What these types of incentives has done so far for our city is we have $6.7 billion of new assessed value. We have 30.4% new jobs here in the city of Fishers, and we have $90 million in investments. And we're now the third best city to live in the United States. I mean, I think there's so many factors that play into that naming of our city as one of the best places to live.
Thank you, Ms. Cole.